Welcome to Make Things Happen with Diane Pagano. I came from struggle, living life on survival mode, and later found myself living in that same vicious cycle. Life is meant to be so much more than settling. Are you ready to stop dreaming for what could be and turn those dreams into reality? I thought so. Well, get ready to live life on your terms. Hello, and welcome to Make Things Happen podcast with Diane Pagano. I'm your host, and today we have a very special guest. Her name is Diane Forster. Diane, welcome.
Hi, Diana. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're absolutely welcome. I'm so excited. So when I learned about you, Diane, I was like, wow, she's amazing. She's doing really great work. But before we get started, I would love the audience to understand who you are and what you do.
Yes. Well, hello, everyone. Beautiful audience. My name is Diane Forster. I'm located in LA, California, and I have a television network that we recently launched called I Have Today TV, which is the first and only personal development and transformation TV network for women over 40. And I'm also a TV host. I've had my own show, award-winning show for 8 years. I'm a multiple best-selling author. I've got a couple of podcasts. I'm very, very passionate about helping women over 40 live to their highest, greatest, fullest potential. And so it came from my own journey of what I went through and what I needed in my mid-40s after a suicide attempt that got me out of a life that I was living into the life that I was meant to be living. And so women used to come to me for reinvention and mindset coaching in my practice. And I took that work onto a television platform, and it just sort of exploded. And other women came to me wanting to do shows like I did it. Amazing. And I had a grand vision for what I wanted to build with this TV network. So that's what we're doing right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. I know that when I watch a podcast, and I'm sure my listeners have shared some stuff with me, like they've had to pause the episode but to write something down. So tell us really quickly. I know we're going to get into some things later, but where could they find your TV show?
Well, you can find my show in a few places. The easiest place for you to find it right now is on YouTube at I Have Today with Diane Forster. And then you can find our network. If you have a Roku device, just search I Have Today, and you'll find I Have Today TV there. Or you can find it on the internet at watch.ihavetodaytv.com.
Wow, so many amazing places, a lot of different avenues. Amazing. So I love the title, I Have Today. And briefly, you shared, a suicidal attempt that you had in your previous life. I think that we always have some sort of inspiration from our pain. I mean, we all have a story, right? And so I love the title. It just speaks so much to I have today. Today is the day to what we can control. So talk to me about how the title was born before you had your show.
Well, as I mentioned, back in June of 2011, I attempted suicide, and it wasn't premeditated. It was just a breaking point that I had hit in a life that I was just miserable in. I was in a very unhappy, unhealthy marriage. I'd been working at ABC in corporate America for years, but it wasn't fulfilling. I was raising my twins. I have son and daughter twins, and I had what you would call a have-it-all life. I had the home and the family and the career and the money and the travel. I had everything that I thought I wanted, and yet I was miserable.
Wow.
And so there was a lot of questions I was asking myself. I was filling my emptiness in other ways with a lot of wine and a lot of shopping and a lot of distractions.
Yes.
And that suicide attempt happened, and I experienced a God moment in the bathroom with the pills in my hand.
Wow.
This force karate chopped my arm, knocked the pills out of my hand, and a voice screamed in my ear, "You're not ending your life this way, Diane. You need to go get help so you can tell your story and you can help others." And so I threw my hands in the air and I said, "Well, you need to show me the way." And I cleaned up that mess, went out and kissed my kids goodnight. And the next day I reached out for help and said, "I'm changing my life." So I had this transformation begin in that moment. And everything in my life started to change, Diana. It was as if the universe was really trying to knock me down almost down and out to wake me up.
Wow.
That's what it was like. And so my spiritual and intuitive gifts all of a sudden were totally turned on. I was channeling like crazy. I was healing. I was getting so much information. And with that came the invention of my kitchen product that got featured on QVC and so
Amazing.
many other things that came a poem called I Have Today. So 2 years after the bathroom moment, I woke up with that poem in my head called I Have Today. It's in the front of my book. And it was I have today to love and be loved. I have today to start fresh and new. I have today to see things with new eyes. I have today to learn and grow. And it just went on like that. And when I finished writing this poem, of the many other things I had been creating, I knew this is what God was talking about in the bathroom. I could instantly flash back to the bathroom and said, "Oh, I get it. I'm supposed to help other women who are stuck in ho-hum hell lives, like I was, get out of that and really live to their highest, greatest, fullest potential." So if I realized if I was living like that, how many other millions of women were living like that too? And so the concept was born. I could see I Have Today in my mind, and I knew at some point in time I would be spearheading a movement in this direction of creating a global multimedia company in transformation and personal development. So
Wow.
here we are now, fast forward now, it's all happening. So
It's all
that's where it
happening.
came from.
Wow. And you're bringing such purpose driven work and single handedly in what you just shared. Thank you for sharing your story. I mean, I think that a lot of us, even when I think about myself, a lot of women are in bad situations. I love that you spoke about your divorce and being in that situation, even as a mom. A lot of women go through that motion of that I can't, I feel powerless, like I'm in a marriage, I can't divorce, I can't leave. And so I was in a similar situation, being married really young, actually from San Diego. I saw that you were had from California. I'm like, yes. But from San Diego, and being in a relationship, married with two small children, and being in an abusive relationship, really. And so the
Yeah.
courage that comes with, right, the courage that you had to leave that situation. And just to kind of touch on this a little bit for anybody watching that has been involved in a domestic violence situation or partner violence, what was that moment, that courage? What do you owe that to, having the courage to leave? I mean, you shared obviously a pivotal moment in the bathroom when you had the pills. And was it that moment? Was it that moment that you were also like, I have to leave? That just to kind of be able to tie the story together of when you decided that divorce was the only option for you.
Well, the moment was not the moment. That was the wake up moment that I
Yes.
needed to change my life. But there was a lot of fear that went along with that too. And was I working towards it? I was absolutely working towards it. To be totally candid, transparent, and honest, I believe in that. It was discovering my husband's affair. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for
Got it.
me. So I had all the fear and the doubt and the insecurity, and I was working towards moving out, breaking away. But that moment was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. That empowered me with so much anger and rage that gave me
I
the
bet.
strength to make the change.
Wow.
So that's usually what happens to us is we hit a point, and it's when this is the truth. For I've coached hundreds, if not thousands, of women, and in groups and individually, that for most of us, what moves the needle for us to actually make the change is when our back is so far pushed up against the wall that the pain of staying is now greater than the pain of change.
Then the pain of
Does that make
change.
sense?
Absolutely.
So it's scary to make the change, but it's even more difficult to stay where you are. Like I refuse to live like this anymore. That's what happened. And then the key, honestly, was a meditation practice, journaling practice, self-forgiveness practice, and an awareness and an awakening that I was the one who was responsible. It was not him. It was not the circumstances. It wasn't any of that. That was the life that I allowed.
Right.
I attracted it. I put up with it. I
Yes.
was an, I was an active participant in all the decisions of it. And once I realized, oh my God, I'm actually the one with all the power here, that's when everything changed. Everything changed. I reinvented my life. I went after my goals, dreams, and desires. I have never looked back. I've had a lot of difficult times for sure, but I said, I no way am I going to live like this anymore. I'm here to live an extraordinary life, and I'm going to do everything I can to get it.
I love it. And it's that determination, just hearing you talk with such conviction, like I will no longer, and that was the pivotal moment. And I love that you said no one's, basically anyone listening, I know that I've seen a lot of women and even some men potentially making the excuses, unfortunately, that, well, this is what he or she's doing to me. And it's like when you look in the mirror, when you say, what part do I play? And realize that you're in the situation, good or bad, because you're deciding, you're choosing. Even when you do nothing, you're still choosing something, right? And it sounds
Right.
that, you said that to yourself, like no one's going to make this change but me, and looking at yourself and looking inwardly. I think that's powerful. And I love that you're sharing that, because anyone listening right now in a bad situation potentially, that it starts with you. And although you can say all these things of the external, and this person dealt me a bad hand, and pointing the finger out. My mom used to always say this to me. I'm sure you've heard this before. When you're pointing the finger to somebody, there's three fingers pointing back at you. Even if they've wronged you, even if they were horrible to you, you always have a choice. It starts with you. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's valuable. That is so valuable, that people really believe to stay. They hurt themselves more by just staying where they're at, because they're too busy focused on poor me type of mentality.
Yeah, their story and their victimhood, and pointing it out instead of really doing the work. And I have done the work, Diana. Continue to do the work.
Yes.
There's so much that we can discover about ourselves. And you've got to understand and know that because I did it too. I pointed out, I blamed him, I blamed a lot of things until I
Sure.
finally woke up. And the forgiveness practice was ultimately forgiveness of myself. Forgive myself
Wow.
for
Right.
doing that. Everything that happens in our life is nothing's a mistake and nothing is failure. It is all growth opportunities and lessons along the way. It's making you into the person you ultimately want to be, and it's creating clarity for you in your life about the kind of life that you really do want, because we're so many of us are settling for mediocrity instead of enjoying this one today that you have, because it's all you have. That's why that's our brand and our business. What are you going to do with this day? Because you don't know when your last one is going to be.
You don't.
So it's imperative that you understand, go for it. Take the risks. What could happen if you stepped out of a life that you're not happy in anyway? And
Right.
most of us stay stuck because they're out of the
Fear
fear of
just
being
takes over.
judged, fear of what other people will think, fear of not being good enough or capable enough or fill in the blank enough, all of those fears. And so a lot of what we're creating with I Have Today is a resource for women to go see how they can empower themselves in their lives. That's the mission behind this network of what we're creating, so that you can hold the mirror up to yourself and feel whatever it is you're going to feel the fear, but do it anyway. And I get a lot of feedback from people that I am very patient and kind, and I push. I don't pull you to come, but I push you,
Yes.
because if you don't get uncomfortable, you're never going to change.
You're never going
You
to
need
change.
to
Right.
feel uncomfortable. You need the push to step out so that you can see, oh, I'm going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. It's like by
You're-
doing.
Right. If you're here right now listening or watching this, I'm sure you've had water today. I'm sure you've slept in a bed today. I'm sure you have food today. You've literally have everything that you need right now, and you're okay and you're alive. You
Yes.
have breath in your lungs. So just know and trust that the universe has your back,
Yes.
or God, whatever you believe in, and that you're a capable woman or man, you're a capable person. So no matter what comes your way, you're going to be okay.
Right.
I mean, there's just such peace and solace in that.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen? You did the thing. If anything, that increases your confidence, because when you do it scared and you now look back and say, that was me. I did the thing that was, you know, scary or
Yeah.
whatever, making you nervous. So I love that you said that, and having that push sometimes, you know, your comfort zone is the biggest killer of dreams, right? It's not the big dream, the audacious goal that some might say that's a little crazy. How are you going to do that? It's more than that. It's more about just getting out of your comfort zone and doing the thing that scares you the most. It sounds corny, right? When people say, "Oh, if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough." But there's truth to that. Even when I speak, I'm sure you as a speaker as well, but when I speak on stage, like I get the butterflies and I do my own little ritual, but it's such an excitement and maybe a little nervous, but it's like it's so rewarding when you just go out there and put yourself out there. Now, Diane, you mentioned there's 3 steps in forgiveness, or pillars, I apologize, which, that you mentioned. Can you share what those are? I love that you mentioned the forgiveness piece, because I remember, you know, being so young and growing up in San Diego with my parents, and they were struggling entrepreneurs. So it was really unstable and chaotic. And I didn't realize that I was carrying some of that with me in my adulthood. And when I learned the power of forgiveness, really, and even with, you know, marriages that didn't work out with, for people listening, that it really starts with you forgiving. Even, it doesn't mean that they deserve your forgiveness, but forgiving yourself first for going through that. Sometimes we carry, I don't know if you can relate, but I know I carried shame sometimes of that I actually was in a situation that I was in, right? And so that forgiveness piece is so powerful. And I'd love for you to share, what are your 3 steps to that?
I'm happy to. Well, let me preface it by saying this, because I'm going to say them
Please.
and they're very simple.
Okay.
But you got to understand where it comes from. So everybody is doing the best they can from where they are. Even when they're doing horrible things, perceived horrible things, that is truly the best that they have in that moment. It is. And so all of us came into this experience to, quote unquote, experience life. That means everything: the good, the bad, the dark, the light, the highs, the lows, the beautiful, the ugly, everything in between. So we're magnetically attracting what we believe, right? And what
Yes.
we identify with. And so the 3 levels of forgiveness are simply this. First level is forgive yourself first. Because no matter what the situation is, even in my own life, what happened to me and for me was something that was on his side of it, but there's always that little part of us that goes, what did I do to deserve this? Even if it's not on a conscious level.
Right.
What could I have done better? Did I not show up the way I should have? Should I have been kinder? All of that noise comes in there because we're told the word no, I think it's 7 or 8,000 times by the time we reach 8 years old. No, 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 bad girl. You know, things are instilled in our subconscious mind. So there's that piece there. We get graded in schools with red letters on our paper. Like, there's all these things telling us we're not enough, right? So forgive yourself, because you're only doing the best that you can, no matter what happened. The second layer is to forgive the other person or the event or the experience. And the reason you want to do that is knowing they were doing the best they can from where they were. And honestly, what occurs most of the time actually has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what's going on with them, most of the time, not all the time. They also had all of their experiences that led them to the behavior. It's never the person, it's the behavior. Same for you. So forgive them, them, because it's not them, it's the behavior. And then the third layer is go back to forgive yourself again, because you'll think you process this and say yes if this has happened to you, because this happens to me, this happens to everybody.
Yes.
God, I thought I was over that. I thought I was
Yes.
past that.
So true.
Why is that bubbling up again, right? Go back to forgiving yourself, because that will come with time to the point where you can get to a point where you're really neutral about it.
Wow.
You get to a point in a place where you're neutral about everything. You will no longer beat yourself up, like I said, no mistakes, no failures, for the growth opportunities and the lessons that you have. Now, that doesn't mean carte blanche, be irresponsible, but understand that it's about behavior. It's not about characteristics.
Wow, Diane, that was powerful, because I can't relate more. You hit the nail on the head. Is that I never thought of that. Like, go back and forgive yourself, but But you're right. When we have those moments, and even anyone listening here, that you thought you got over something that you were no longer holding on to, and all of a sudden you feel this reaction. You can't describe it, but you wouldn't feel
It
this way.
triggers you again.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, to get triggered.
That is
Smell something,
awesome.
hear something, something happens,
Yes.
and all of a sudden it's right there again.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Gosh, that's powerful. You mentioned that, and it's funny that you say that earlier. You said it's so simple, but yet we as humans complicate things, right? And you might say, oh, this is so simple and people should just know it. But I love that. I love that so much. And I'm taking this one for sure. So thank you for sharing the 3. Do you call it 3 pillars, or what do you call it?
3 levels.
3 levels. Oh, I
3
love
levels
that.
of forgiveness.
It's not 3 pillars, levels, because you're on one level of forgiveness, and then you forgive the person who's wronged you, whatever that is, the circumstance, whatever. And then you go back to the next level. You level yourself up by forgiving back. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Love that so much. So tell me, what are the other key things? I know we could probably spend hours talking about all the transformative tools in your toolkit and even mine, but what would you say are the top things you teach the women that you empower and have helped transform their lives? Besides the forgiveness, I already have that one thing in my toolkit.
Yeah. Well, what my show is all about is about giving you all of that, understanding that you really are the one in the power and you choose. So I have hundreds of episodes that are filled with chock full of amazing ways to live intentionally. And so other things that I really help women do, and this moves me to tears, so I'm going to try and do this without crying, is one of the reasons why I needed to have the breakdown so I could have the breakthrough to step into the power that I am today. I know this because God talks to me all the time, is my ability to see your star power, how amazing you are, all of your gifts, all of your talents, and all that is possible for you. And when I'm working with women, whether I was coaching women and now I'm helping women launch TV shows, either on our television network in general, that's part of my coaching program, is that ability to be able to see how very special and unique you are, and you're here for a purpose and a reason, and it is to shine that light as brightly as you can. And so your role in this life is to figure out what that is. What is your unique star power so that you can shine it as brightly as you can? And so I help women to break through those barriers so that they can live and move with confidence, even though they feel the fear anyway.
Right.
Even though they authentically start loving themselves unconditionally, just as they are. And so it's a powerful way to live and move in your life each day, knowing that you don't have to be anything different than you are. So the tools I have I have mantra meditations on my YouTube channel. I have them on other platforms because we need that. We need the reprogramming. That's one of my most powerful tools. I have an album that's going to be coming out. I have a lot of amazing things that are coming out. But really, my advice to anyone listening is you can stay stuck where you are, or you can make the changes that you want to make in your life, and 100% of it is depending on what you're feeding yourself. In other words, are you watching news? Are you, how are you spending your time? And that most of the things in your life are coming from living because everything's in the subconscious. Only 10% of our thoughts are conscious thoughts. Right? So it's not your fault. You're just running on old programming. So it's like having a phone, and imagine your phone is the same age as you are.
Right.
And it's never had a software update. It's never had anything cleaned out. All the bad photos, everything's in there. All the email junk, everything is in there.
Right.
How slow and sick would this run off the old programming?
Like autopilot.
So you've got to feed it the new program. You got to clean out the old and feed it the new programming. So that's basically what my work does.
I love
in
that.
A very simple way. Yeah.
I love that you're speaking a lot of what we talk about on Make Things Happen podcast. I knew that's why I wanted you on here. And there's such a component, right? There's such a component on the power that we hold by controlling the things that we entertain, right? It's like I always say, change the channel, same type of thing, right? What channel are you tuned into? The fear, the doubt, the what if this doesn't work out, all the nonsense noise based on maybe somebody else never did it, so now you think that you can't do it, or maybe somebody told you that it couldn't be done, and now you got sold, right? And that's the belief that is guiding you to either not take action or take action, right? Either way, you're getting influence one way or the other. So I love that you mentioned that. So it sounds like there's so many components, right? And if anyone's listening right now and they say, gosh, this is amazing, and it's a lot of the things that I hear, and I know maybe you can relate to some of this, or from the perspective of your audience, that there's so many powerful tools and things you could do to change your life, and it gets a little convoluted with, like, where do I begin? You can do this meditation, and there's gratitude, and then there's this and that. So if anyone like listening right now, where would you suggest that somebody start to change their life around?
So the first place that you want to start, if you're going to make changes in your life, the very first thing you need to do is start to create awareness. And I call it the ABCs. Awareness begets change. So once you're aware, I'm not happy in my life, and you start digging in and asking the questions, well, what am I not happy with? What is it about my life? And I have a bunch of processes and things. I've got books, I've got lots of programs and things, is to first start do an inventory about your life. Well, what is it that I'm not happy with? And so we look at the 8 key areas of your life. So for you, just to make it super simple for you who's listening or watching, pick the top 3. Is it my health? Is it my finances? Or is it my relationships? Because those are the big 3.
Right.
Put them in an order of priority, like which one, because you can't work on too many things at once.
Sure.
You won't get anywhere with that. But look at the 3 areas of your life and measure them, prioritize them. Which one would I like to see the change fastest, best, most? Which one is going to help me? And look at your life. One of the things that I was doing was I was drinking a lot of wine, right? And it was really affecting my how I slept, how I woke up, some of my habits, right? So I had to make changes in my life that shifted so many things. And, I got into that habit because I had a couple of health things that happened, right? So I'm fully transparent.
Yeah.
I know all the answers, and yet I still have human moments, right? We all do. So being able to say, all right, well, that is something that I really want to change in my life, because I can see how it would affect my life in other ways really positively. So it could be one thing. It could be setting up a new nighttime routine where you do an hour of self-care at night. You are going to take a bath. You are going to wash your face. You're going to listen to positive music. You're going to start a meditation practice, whatever it is, because it's not that the resources aren't available for you. It's just there's an overwhelming amount, and here's the key: commitment and consistency.
Yes.
Even if you don't feel like doing it, you have to stay committed and consistent. That's true with everyone of everything. So if you're out there, do the assessment of your life, those 3 areas: your health, your finances, and your relationships. Which one do you want to change the most, that you think will make the most impact? And then start being aware and track it, and start implementing one habit at a time. Just one thing. Don't beat yourself up. Don't let the first of the year come thinking, oh, this is going to be my year. I'm going to make all these New Year's resolutions.
Right.
That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It's living in the today, and it's moment by moment decisions. That's what it is.
That's beautiful. We're going to repeat that one. That was amazing. That was amazing. That one hit. And I just love, thank you so much for your transparency. I mean, even earlier when you were talking about your message, and I cry on commercials, okay, Diane? So I've even cried on this podcast before. We just lay it all out there. And thank you so much. It sounds, the habits, the consistency that you said, and the commitments. I always say, don't wait to feel motivated. Like Zig Ziglar always sticks in my head. I saw him before he passed away in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm from San Diego, so then I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona. And he said, motivation is like showers. You got to do it every day. So I love that you said it's about discipline, really, and what you commit to, because I want anyone listening that, man, there's times I didn't feel like doing stuff. I didn't feel like seeing my personal trainer, but you committed to it. And the way you feel when you've committed to something and you did it, that's the biggest confidence booster, I think. And I'm sure, Diane, you could echo that. You're now the person, like I said before, that you did something that maybe felt uncomfortable, even if it doesn't scare you, but you just don't feel like doing it. If I felt like doing the things, even the things that I'm passionate about, and maybe you feel the same way. I love speaking on stage. I love doing my podcast. Even things that I love could definitely be maybe a burnout, or sometimes you're like on having an off day. But what you commit to, and I love that you mentioned about habits, even if it's just one thing. And I love that you separated and said, what are the top 3 things? Because sometimes us high achievers, that, entrepreneurs want to do it all. And we're like, we can do this and we can do that. But it doesn't mean that they can't, in this season, just focus on the highest one that needs the most attention. And then you pivot to something else in the next quarter or what have you, would you say?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Your mind already is going to try and go back to the old programming. So stick with one thing that you're still uncomfortable with, but nope, no matter what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be committed to this. I'm going to make this change. And that feels so good. So then you'll be fueled to want to do the next thing.
Love it.
Yes.
I love that. So I know that this is very powerful. What Diane just said, for any one of you listening, that you remember the subconscious mind, your unconscious awareness, right? That is your where your habits live. And as she mentioned just now, Diane, remember that that's going to try to lure you back when you start doing these habits. It's normal. As long as you know up front, would you say, Diane, like that, hey, your unconscious is going to want to keep you comfortable. And I think that that's powerful when you know, okay, this is supposed to happen, but I'm going to do this thing of habits. And once you break through to that consistency, then I think it's a game changer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Thank you so much for being on my podcast of Make Things Happen. Diane, is there the last 10-second words of wisdom that you want to share with anyone watching, listening in today, anywhere where they could find you, what projects or anything you have going on in your wonderful world of empowerment?
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, we have so much happening. The final word that I want to say to everybody is, remember, all you have is today. That is truly all you have. Don't think that you can put off anything. Make this day matter. Tell the people that you love them. Love on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself. Know that there are no mistakes, only lessons along the way. And that what we have coming up are several things. Of course, please watch my show, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I Have Today with Diane Forster. Go to our network at watch.ihavetoday TV so you can see my show as well as all of our other fabulous hosts. We have a lot happening. I've got a book coming out this spring. And you can also go to my website, dianeforster.com, because my website is a big catalog of everything that I do and have, so you can learn, you can get on my email list and be updated on all things happening with us and I Have Today. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
Diana,
so much for joining me. And I will make sure to put the links below. And do you have a name of your book yet?
Yes, it's called Star Power.
Star Power. Yes. Amazing. That is all on this episode with Diane Forster. Wow, this was an amazing episode. I know I learned a couple of things that I didn't even think about. I hope that you did too, and that you got the value and that you made notes. And if you didn't, go back and get some of those notes on what are the things that you're now going to implement in your life. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be big. It's all the little things that really make a massive impact in your life. You don't have to worry about being perfect and getting all the things right. Just one small shift can make a world of difference. Or maybe there's something that you've already done in your life that has absolutely made a game changer. Would love to hear your comments below so others can also be empowered by your voice. And make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss any future episodes. If you or anyone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, I encourage you to go to the link below because there is support waiting for you right now. And I'm rooting and praying for you.